Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another malicious compliance Reddit video. I'll cut down your hours so you'll be forced to quit. Yes, please. This happened almost 10 years ago. I was teaching IT in a professional school and was getting near 2 years of employment. In my country at the time, once you completed 1 year at a company, you had the right to take 1 month of paid vacations, but the employer could hold it till right before your second mandatory vacation period came along. As I was now approaching my second year, my school had no choice but to arrange everything for my leave of absence. The problem was they had no one to take my place during my month off. When the topic came up, I gladly offered to help them hire someone and even train this person before taking my leave. All would have gone well if there wasn't some drama being set up in the background. A few months back, our teaching manager quit in a dramatic way. She was having a relationship with a student which was heavily against the school's policies, and to make it even worse, the student in question was my own daughter. I was against the relationship, but I kept quiet because my daughter asked me to. She said she was happy. Much later, I found out it was an abusive relationship and blamed myself for not giving voice to my concerns at the time, but that is a story for another day and probably another sub. So, our teaching manager decided to quit as a way to not get fired once the higher-ups found out about the affair. We kept in touch, mostly because of my daughter, but the friendship we once had was affected permanently. Unfortunately, this wasn't the perception of our school's managers. Gossip went around about how I wasn't to be trusted because of my connection to the former manager. None of it reached my ears because I simply never engaged in this kind of talk. I simply kept to myself. The school eventually hired a former teacher to fill the vacant position in the teaching department. At the time, I had no clue why they had not offered me the job. The new manager was a friend of mine and told me they offered him the job instead of me because higher management was listening to the gossip and that the CEO was actually looking for grounds to legally fire me, but the new manager told me he was fighting for me. According to the local labor laws, if the school didn't have a valid reason for this, they would have to pay a huge fine. The whole situation pissed me off, and I just told my friend to stop bothering fighting for me. If the boss tells you that he wants me gone again, don't argue with him. I did everything the professional school asked me to do about hiring a substitute, knowing that he would be my permanent replacement, but I was adamant in not giving them any reason to fire me without full compensation. About a week before my leave ended, I called the teaching manager and asked about my return to work. He asked me to start with a free class. The school offered free classes monthly to attract new students, and that we would have a meeting with the CEO afterwards to arrange everything about my return. I asked him to send me an email with all the details of this class, and he hesitated before complying. The email I got specified a different schedule from what we discussed by phone. Huh? I had 4 free classes that day before meeting the manager and the CEO. Each one went smoother than the previous. When the time of the meeting came, they still didn't have any reason to fire me. The CEO started citing a bunch of complaints they supposedly received about my behavior while in class for the past 2 years, but did not provide any proof of it. He then started saying how the results of the new teacher were through the roof and that they should have hired him instead of me much sooner. The whole thing was very confrontational and aggressive, and clearly designed to provoke some kind of violent response from me. I kept calm and smiled the whole time. When he saw the strategy didn't pan out, he said he was simply giving my regular classes to the new guy and keeping me with just the free classes, which in his mind would severely cut down my earnings and I would feel forced to quit. Since I had read a lot about labor laws during my vacation, cue the malicious compliance. Wait, so I get to keep my current earnings and work 1 day a week? Well, sign me up! Of course, you would only be paid for the free classes. So, do I have any say in keeping a teaching schedule of regular classes? No, as I was saying, the new teacher is really loved by the students and, well, If dropping the regular classes is not my own choice and I have no way to prevent it, then according to the law, you have to keep paying me exactly the same amount as before, even if by your own decision, I'll be here for just 4 days each month. This isn't how it works. But it is, and you can, of course, disagree, and you can choose to pay me less if you want to, but what you cannot do is fire me with just cause when I sue you because of it. What if I just fire you right now? That would mostly be acceptable. Then you're fired. Thank you very much. So I was fired, not only with a full severance package, but I actually had to go back there a week later to pick up even more money because the guy forgot to give me a mandatory raise issued by the teachers union while I worked there. If he didn't pay me the difference retroactively, he would be sued and probably criminally charged. We ended everything with a firm handshake, and almost 10 years later, I'm back working at the same professional school, now as the teaching manager. Try to pile on more work to increase your bonus? Not gonna happen. I oversee a team of a dozen folks when it's fully staffed. We had a fellow move out of state for school, a lady retire to care for her grandkids when her daughter got sick, then 3 people promoted up within the organization all within 4 weeks' time, so almost half the team suddenly became unavailable. While I'm involved in the recruiting and onboarding process, management up to 3 levels above me tends to be a bottleneck. Each time someone lets me know they were moving on, I informed management and gave them a running total. We're at 84% staffing. We're at 66% staffing, etc. Ads were placed, first round interviews conducted by me and a team lead, second interviews recommended to the next level of management, and that's where the process suddenly stopped. For a week, then 2, then 3. It commonly takes 2 to 3 weeks after hire to bring a new person up to speed for them to start being productive, and perhaps 8 weeks for a new person to reach 90 to 95% of median productivity goals. The existing team was ready to pull together and work harder to keep up with the work, but I took each one aside and coached them that the heavy workload they were under was not their problem to solve. Yes, customers were complaining. Yes, other groups in the organization were getting frustrated that our team wasn't getting things done in a timely fashion. I encouraged them to work efficiently and well, but to not put in extra unpaid time or contribute their own resources to the projects. And if anyone was insistent in their complaints regarding the team's productivity, send them to me and I would explain the situation. Middle and upper management across the organization started vocalizing about how little work was getting done. When I played the Uno reverse card that, hey, all we need is adequate, well-trained staff and we'll be able to keep up, and managers 1, 2, and probably executive 1 all have potential interviewees on their desk for almost a month now, I started getting the stink eye from those folks. I found out later that one or a couple of those folks that I report to, and were also the next rungs in the hiring ladder, had proposed the idea that this team could run just as well a little leaner. So they arranged to find out. Oopsie daisy, metrics indicated that organizational goals weren't met because of their decision, but I was able to provide the stats that proved that the team's individual goals were met, and that in many respects, per-person efficiencies were improved. My team members got their bonus. Middle management failed to achieve, so no bonus for them that year. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, then consider subscribing. I'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.